Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Y&R Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Victoria's Noah puzzle pieces. Nick and Matt's showdown. There will be a confrontation between Nick Newman and Matt Clark, also known as Mitch Bacall. Here's what fans of Y&R will see next as Victoria Newman considers certain puzzle pieces belonging to Noah Newman. Mitch will claim he's not mad over the week of November 3rd to 7th before running away from Sharon Newman. Nick Newman's next interrogation will be stopped by Sienna Bacall, but he is determined to talk to Matt directly. Noah will talk about his time off canvas once he wakes up and removes his bandages. But Noah could be a little reticent, leaving his parents to question whether they truly understand the complete picture. Nick and Matt will finally have their confrontation. Nick will know better and will launch a full-scale attack on his well-known adversary, even if Matt insists that this is a case of mistaken identification. After that amazing night in bed with Holden Novak, Claire Newman will experience conflicting emotions. Claire will continue to be attracted to Kyle Abbott, but she will also adore the independence she has gained with Holden. Given that he would eventually demand answers regarding her stay in Los Angeles with Holden, Kyle and Claire might be poised to explode up. Kyle can become enraged if Claire acknowledges her passionate experience with Holden. Meanwhile, Audra will visit Los Angeles and engage with a drunken man at the Shadow Room. When Holden spots Audra in the club, he might step in if the man she's drinking with tries anything improper. Back with Sienna, she will attempt to conceal certain information from the police while Nick is concerned that Sharon might end up in danger. With Matt Clark around, that's always a possibility. Given that she will consider certain pieces of the Noah puzzle, Victoria might also choose to help out in Los Angeles. Regarding the crash and this enigmatic Matt comeback scenario, there will be a lot of suspicions to investigate. Victor Newman will prepare for an unexpected attack, while Lily Winters explodes at Kane Ashby. Although Jack Abbott is undoubtedly Victor's greatest adversary right now, there can be other adversaries that Victor must contend with. We'll see if the AI software is utilized by the week of November 10th to 14th, when Victor might proceed with his preparations. To do their best to keep Jabot safe, Jack, Diane Jenkins Abbott, Kyle and Billy Abbott will band together. Back in Los Angeles, Matt will also engage in some really unsettling activities. Mitch, also known as Matt, is about to do some dirty work, so Sharon and Nick had better be prepared. Stay tuned for updates on some crazy news as Noah's background is revealed, according to spoilers for The Young and the Restless. The week ahead on The Young and the Restless will be nothing short of explosive as Victoria Newman finds herself deep in thought, trying to connect the mysterious puzzle pieces involving her son, Noah Newman. Questions swirl about what really happened during Noah's time off canvas, what secrets he's keeping, and how the resurfacing of Matt Clark, now living under the alias Mitch Bacall, fits into the picture. It's a storyline thick with intrigue, deception, and long-buried rivalries that are finally about to explode. The storm will begin when Nick Newman and Matt Clark come face-to-face in a confrontation that's been years in the making, while Victoria's investigation sends shockwaves through the entire Newman family. But as the pieces begin to fall into place, what they reveal might be far more devastating than anyone could have imagined. At the start of this dramatic arc, Victoria will take a keen interest in Noah's strange behavior following his recovery. After weeks in the hospital, Noah will finally remove his bandages and start to recall fragments of what happened before his accident, moments that could hold the key to the chaos now consuming their lives. Yet his hesitation to open up will frustrate both Nick and Sharon, who are desperate for answers. It's clear Noah knows more than he's saying, but the question is why he's holding back. Is he protecting someone or himself? Victoria, who has always been an intuitive observer, will sense that Noah's trauma isn't just physical. Something about his recovery, his cryptic glances, and his silence suggests that he's been caught in a web of deceit that extends far beyond Genoa City. Determined to uncover the truth, she begins connecting the dots, tracing names, phone calls, and travel records until one name keeps resurfacing. Mitch Bacall, a man who eerily matches the description of Matt Clark, Nick's former nemesis and one of the most manipulative figures in his past. When word reaches Nick that Mitch Bacall might actually be Matt Clark under a new identity, the blood drains from his face. Memories of the torment, the schemes, and the pain Matt caused his family come rushing back. Nick knows that Matt's presence in their orbit is never innocent. He confronts Sharon, demanding to know why she didn't tell him sooner that Mitch had reappeared in her life. Sharon, shaken and defensive, admits she was trying to protect everyone. But before she can say more, Mitch slips away, vanishing into the Los Angeles night. This act of evasion only heightens Nick's determination. He vows to hunt Matt down and get the truth once and for all, no matter what it takes. The confrontation is inevitable, and when it finally happens, it will ignite every old wound and buried grudge between these two men. Meanwhile, in a separate but emotionally charged thread, Claire Newman finds herself struggling with her own divided heart. After an unforgettable night with Holden Novak, Claire feels a mix of liberation and guilt. For so long, she's lived in the shadows of family expectations and her own insecurities. Holden makes her feel alive, free, as if she's finally discovering who she really is. But her growing attraction to Kyle Abbott complicates everything. Kyle, unaware of her night with Holden, continues to believe there's a chance for them to rebuild their connection. Yet, as tensions mount and secrets start to surface, the fragile balance between them begins to crumble. Claire's confession about Los Angeles could send Kyle into a rage, leading to a fiery confrontation that could alter their relationship forever. Back in Los Angeles, chaos brews at the Shadow Room, a trendy yet dangerous nightclub that's become the crossroads of multiple unfolding dramas. Audra Charles, drowning her frustrations with alcohol, finds herself in the company of a reckless man whose intentions quickly turn sinister. Just as the situation spirals, Holden appears, his protective instincts kicking in. His sudden involvement adds another layer of complexity, not just because of his tangled history with Claire, but because of how it draws him deeper into the volatile web surrounding the Newman family. Holden's intervention could save Audra from a disastrous encounter, but it might also pull him into the dangerous orbit of Matt Clark, who's lurking somewhere in the shadows of the city. While the Los Angeles drama intensifies, Nick's pursuit of Matt takes him to the edge. Just as he corners Mitch for a long-awaited interrogation, Sienna Bacall, Mitch's supposed sister, steps in, stopping the confrontation before it can explode. Sienna insists Nick is mistaken, that Mitch isn't Matt Clark, and that he's being unfairly accused. But Nick's instincts tell him otherwise. Every look, every phrase, every mannerism from Mitch reeks of Matt's manipulative arrogance. He's seen it before, the smirk, the evasions, the half-truths. Matt may have changed his name, but he hasn't changed his nature. Sienna's interference raises more questions than it answers. Why is she so desperate to protect him? What is she hiding? And how does she connect to Noah's mysterious disappearance and the accident that nearly took his life? As these threads unravel, Victoria grows increasingly uneasy. She senses a pattern emerging, one that connects Noah's silence, Matt's sudden reappearance, and the series of suspicious events that have rocked both Genoa City and Los Angeles. Determined to protect her family, she travels to LA herself, where she begins digging into business dealings and surveillance footage that could expose everything. The deeper she goes, the clearer it becomes that this isn't just about Matt Clark. It's about something bigger. A covert operation involving stolen data, AI software manipulation, and possibly even blackmail. Someone has been playing a long game, and Victoria intends to find out who. Meanwhile, Victor Newman prepares for his own brand of retaliation. He's been monitoring the developments closely, and when he realizes that his family's stability is once again being threatened by external forces, including Jack Abbott, the legendary patriarch gears up for battle. Victor begins assembling a counteroffensive, one that could devastate Jabot and leave his rivals scrambling. Behind the scenes, Lily Winters and Kane Ashby have their own blowout confrontation, as tensions from the corporate war boil over into personal conflict. The drama inside Newman Enterprises and Chancellor Winters is becoming just as combustible as what's happening in Los Angeles. Back in Genoa City, the Abbott family rallies together in response to Victor's latest moves. Jack, Diane, Kyle, and Billy put their differences aside and unite to protect Jabot from a hostile takeover. For Jack, this fight isn't just about business. It's about pride, legacy, and proving that the Abbotts can't be broken, no matter what Victor throws their way. Yet, as Victor begins experimenting with the controversial AI software that's been whispered about for months, even his closest allies grow uneasy. What is Victor really planning? And could his next move bring about a level of chaos that even he can't control? As all these storylines converge, the tension reaches a fever pitch. In Los Angeles, Matt begins to spiral, haunted by his own past and desperate to maintain control over the situation. He starts engaging in darker, more unsettling behavior, following Sharon, manipulating Sienna, and taking risks that could finally expose his true identity. Sharon, feeling the old fear creeping back, warns Nick that Matt is far more dangerous than he appears. But Nick, enraged and reckless, refuses to back down. Their confrontation, when it happens, will be explosive, a raw collision of past hatred and present danger. Matt will deny everything, insisting that Nick's obsession has blinded him, but Nick won't buy it. He'll launch a full-scale attack, both verbal and physical, determined to unmask his old enemy once and for all. In the midst of all this, Noah's silence will finally crack. In a tense moment with his mother, he'll reveal fragments of truth, flashes of memory that suggest Mitch, was involved in something connected to the crash, something that endangered lives and possibly cost others their futures. But Noah's recollections are incomplete, and every answer only leads to more questions. Was Matt using him? Was Sienna part of it? And how does Holden fit into this maze of deceit? By the end of the week, the chessboard will be set for an all-out war, personal, emotional, and corporate. Victoria's suspicions will lead her closer to the heart of the mystery. Nick's vendetta will spiral dangerously out of control, and Sharon's fears will prove chillingly justified as Matt Clark's mask begins to slip. In Los Angeles, Audra and Holden's paths will intertwine with Claire's, tying the Newman family drama to a much larger conspiracy. And as Victor puts his AI-driven plan into motion, the line between business warfare and personal vendetta will blur beyond recognition. In classic Young and the Restless fashion, every revelation will come with consequences, broken hearts, exposed lies, and a reckoning that will redefine alliances across Genoa City and Los Angeles alike. As Noah's hidden truths come to light, as Victoria assembles the final pieces of his puzzle, and as Nick and Matt's feud reignites with devastating force, viewers can expect one thing for sure: nothing will ever be the same again. The battle lines have been drawn, and by the time the dust settles, the Newman legacy could be changed forever. The fallout from Victoria Newman's investigation into Noah's puzzle pieces begins to ripple through every corner of Genoa City and Los Angeles, pulling both families and enemies into a whirlpool of chaos. The mystery surrounding Mitch Bacall's identity, and whether he's truly Matt Clark, is about to explode into a full-scale confrontation that threatens to destroy reputations, relationships, and lives. As Nick Newman digs his heels in to prove that his old adversary has returned to wreak havoc, Victoria continues piecing together fragments of information that paint a chilling picture. What she doesn't yet realize is that every discovery she makes is drawing her closer to a dangerous truth, one that connects Noah's accident, the AI project, and a decades-old vendetta that's finally resurfacing. The week begins with tension at an all-time high. Victoria can't shake the image of Noah's haunted expression, the way he flinched when she mentioned Los Angeles, or how he deflected every question about who he was with before the crash. Her instincts tell her that Noah's withholding something devastating. After all, her son has always been sensitive, artistic, and introspective, but this time, his silence feels different. It's protective, almost fearful. She finds herself pacing her office, looking over reports, text messages, and flight logs from the week before Noah's accident. One name keeps showing up in the background of transactions and communications: Mitch Bacall. But the more she looks, the less sense it makes. Mitch's name appears connected to an art gallery, a marketing firm, and a tech startup. Yet all of them have mysterious investors with offshore accounts. To Victoria, it reeks of a shell operation. Something bigger is hiding behind the name Mitch Bacall. While Victoria follows the money trail, Nick is following his instincts. Still fuming from his confrontation with Sienna Bacall, who shut down his interrogation, Nick refuses to let the matter go. He reaches out to an old contact in the LAPD, who still remembers the chaos Matt Clark caused all those years ago. What he learned shakes him to his core. Someone matching Matt's description resurfaced under a new identity about 6 years ago, using falsified records and connections to a private clinic that specialized in identity reconstruction. It's enough for Nick. He doesn't need DNA proof to trust his gut. He knows Mitch Bacall is Matt Clark. And this time, he's not going to let him escape justice. Not again. Sharon, meanwhile, feels the weight of dread settling in her chest. She's been down this road before. Matt's manipulation, his charm, his psychological games. She remembers the trauma, the danger, the fear of not knowing when he'd strike next. And as much as she wants to believe that Mitch might be a different man, her instincts tell her otherwise. When she receives a late-night call from an anonymous number and hears a distorted voice whisper, "You can't hide from the past forever," her heart nearly stops. She rushes to Nick's side, demanding that they confront this together before Matt can hurt anyone else. But Nick's too consumed by rage to listen. "I've waited years for this," he growls. He's not getting away this time. Across town, Claire Newman's internal storm continues to rage. After her passionate night with Holden Novak, she can't shake the guilt that gnaws at her. Holden awakens something in her. Confidence, freedom, desire. But now she feels trapped between the man who makes her feel alive and the man who represents safety and familiarity. Kyle Abbott's calls go unanswered as she tries to make sense of her emotions, but Kyle, never one to tolerate silence, storms to her apartment demanding the truth. The confrontation is fiery, filled with accusations, tears, and painful honesty. Claire finally blurts out what she's been hiding. She and Holden were together in Los Angeles, and yes, they crossed a line. Kyle's fury is immediate. "You didn't just cross a line," he snaps. "You blew up everything we had left." The heartbreak in his voice cuts through her defenses, but Claire can't take it back. What's done is done, and as Kyle storms out, slamming the door behind him, Claire realizes she's lost more than just his trust. She's lost her place in the world she thought she knew. Back in Los Angeles, the Shadow Room becomes the epicenter of several unraveling storylines. Audra Charles, still recovering from her disastrous encounter the night before, finds herself unexpectedly drawn into Holden's orbit. After he saved her from an aggressive stranger, she feels both grateful and unsettled by his intensity. Holden, however, has his own secrets. He's been quietly working to track down information on Mitch Bacall, whose name keeps appearing in circles Holden's trying to distance himself from. He suspects Mitch is connected to a network of illicit deals, perhaps even involving the stolen AI technology Victor Newman has been so desperate to acquire. Holden's motives are murky, but one thing's clear. He's playing a dangerous game that could put him in direct conflict with both the Newmans and Mitch himself. Sienna Bacall, meanwhile, is beginning to crack under pressure. She's been covering for Mitch for weeks, forging documents, erasing evidence, misleading the authorities, but the stress is wearing her down. When Nick corners her again, demanding answers, she nearly slips. "You don't understand what he's capable of," she blurts out before catching herself. Nick narrows his eyes. "Then make me understand," he presses. But Sienna goes silent, terrified. Her loyalty to Mitch is rooted in something deeper than fear. Perhaps blood, perhaps blackmail. Whatever it is, it's powerful enough to keep her tethered to him, even as his behavior grows increasingly erratic. Kyle squinted his eyes. "Kane." "That's right," Jack remarked somberly. "And Phyllis. She will regret getting involved with this." Kane was performing his own damage control across town. When Lily first saw him at Society, her face was taut with annoyance. "Kane, this is unbelievable. You claim to have locked down that system." "I did," he was adamant. "However, someone violated it. Victor Newman is now turning it into a weapon. Lily, I promise to make this right. Even if it's Phyllis, I'll track down whoever assisted him." Lily crossed her arms. Kane exercised caution. "You're experimenting with flames." He gave a sinister grin. "Well, perhaps it's time to burn them all." Phyllis unexpectedly received an encrypted message back at the Grand Phoenix. "We are aware of what you sold." Her heartbeat quickened. "You can't hide forever." It was not Victor or Kane who sent that message. There was another person observing. Someone risky. In the meantime, Sharon was sitting next to Noah's bed in the hospital, whispering to her unconscious son, "Baby, come back to me." Nick stood in the corner, his eyes red from sleep deprivation, his jaw clenched. "Please." Detective Halpern entered through the creaking door. "Mr. and Mrs. Newman, we discovered fresh security footage from the accident night," he continued, wiping his mouth. "It may alter everything." Sharon stood up tall. "What sort of video?" Halpern paused. It depicts someone tampering with Noah's vehicle prior to the collision. Nick clenched his hands. Who? Halpern answered. We're still analyzing it, but the figure looks familiar. Sharon's phone buzzed before they could press him any harder. He's not the only one who ought to have perished that evening. A text message from an unidentified number appeared on the screen. Sharon felt her blood chill. Half expecting to see Matt Clark hiding in the shadows once more, she glanced around the room. Determined to confront her concerns, Sharon went back to the shadow room later that night. The air was heavy with silence and the pub was oddly deserted. Matt! She yelled that in no response. Then though she heard it, a terrifying close whisper. With her heart racing, she turned back and said, You can't bury the past, Sharon. But nobody was there. Or was it? Victor's business doomsday strategy was already growing at the same time. He summoned Victoria to his office and explained his next course of action, which was to fully acquire Jabot through middlemen. Jack won't have a business to run when I'm done, Victor remarked.